really quickly, just a little bit about myself. Those of you guys that don't know me, I am the program director at Pima Medical Institute in Tucson, Arizona. I've been program director for about 9 years. I've been teaching veterinary technology for good gravy, 14 years. And I've been in the field for way longer than I care to admit, because I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I'm also your AVTE president-elect, so I'm very, very excited. So what we wanted to do today is, because we've all kind of been thrust into this weird world of online education and working from home, I wanted to kind of touch more on the mental and physical and how to kind of deal with this working from home, and having your children invade your Zoom meetings, or your cat or your dog who frequently invade my Zoom meetings. But how can we cope from that, and how can we kind of make it a little bit more tolerable? I've been home. I'm starting my 10th week now of working online and not really going out of my house except for absolute necessity. My school did do a soft opening this week. I'm bringing my students back tomorrow just for lab skills, but we're going to be teaching online and working remotely as much as possible for several months at least. So I just kind of wanted to touch on some tricks and tips and things that I thought would be helpful for you guys. And if you guys have any, great ideas, or like, oh my God, I did this last week and it was so much fun and I loved it. Feel free. Trish is moderating, so she's kind of going through and checking the box. So type in your comments, or if you've got questions, because God knows I don't have all the answers, although I try to make my kids think I do. So, but one of the things that I notice is really, when we're talking about teaching online and working remotely, is trying to keep some sort of a schedule and working regular hours, which I know is like so incredibly hard. And I was bad about this even before I started working remotely, because as a program director, I feel like I need to be available all the time. So I get my emails on my phone and I'm constantly checking all of that. But I've noticed it was even more so that I was working ridiculous amounts of hours at my house, and that I needed to force myself to say, you know what, it's 6 o'clock, I'm gonna have a glass of wine and I'm going to step away and I'm gonna watch the Kardashians on TV or something is equally crappy, and I'm just going to step away from it and really kind of check out. And kind of also going along with that whole thing is really be careful and watch, kind of your information overload. The beginning of this pandemic, I had the news channel on all the freaking time, and I was obsessed. And even now, I've gotten better about it, but even now I still find myself going on Arizona Department of Health website and seeing, how many new cases did we have today? What's our curve looking like? And that's not healthy. I mean, information is good and you do need to be knowledgeable as to what's going on in the world, but you also need to kind of step away, not constantly being on social media. Although the Facebook AVTE group has been, I cannot tell you, you guys have just been lifesavers through this whole thing. It's just been amazing. So kind of also along with that is also, having a home office and making sure, have your delegated space, where you can go when in your routine, working whatever hours you want to, setting aside the time, going and sitting at, whether it's your dining room table or a home office or wherever, but having that dedicated space so that then you can go ahead and you can actually leave that space. So you're not constantly thinking that, you're kind of on the schedule and having to check those emails and just, oh, let me just look at my screen super quick. You have to step back, because otherwise we're going to get burnout. And we all know that feeling right now. And particularly in veterinary medicine, we're like the kings and queens of burnout, because we've got a lot of type A personalities, and we tend to really just kind of delve into work, and we really aren't great about self-care. One of the things that I've noticed too is PTO. And again, it's been really hard, again, because we had to, very quickly adapt to these online classes. But stepping back, and if you can, take a PTO day where you don't turn on that computer. The world is not going to end if you don't answer an email for 24 hours. And, again, I am guilty of this too, but try, to take that time. Or if you can't take an entire day of PTO, make sure that you're taking breaks over, the day, take a step back and, take 15 minutes to go, make yourself a snack, in your kitchen, or, go get a drink or take a walk if it's not 100 degrees out. Take a walk around the neighborhood. And then, along with that too is kind of, take advantage of working from home. Be able to, like, wow, you know what, I could take a half an hour and I could go bake cupcakes, or I could take my dog for a walk. Take advantage of that, kind of that time, which is, really nice, because it is kind of nice to, be at home and have of all of that stuff kind of at your disposal. Some other, suggestions is also, have begin the day and then also, but end the day with a routine. Make sure that you're not, sleeping in till all hours, or, one day you're up at 6 and the next day you're up at 10, but kind of have a routine schedule, because when we were all in the offices, we had that roughly 9 to 5 job. So, be aware of all of that and try to keep that routine, because it kind of helps your whole mental, frame of mind in the long run. Kind of silly, but get dressed. I put on last week, I was really excited for Trisha's distance ed thing. I put on makeup. And I put on makeup today. I have a little lipstick and some foundation and some mascara on, but I was surprised actually how it made a difference, because for 9 weeks, I was wearing pajama pants, and I would put on, a decent shirt for Zoom meetings, because I had to be dressed from the waist up, but, do things to kind of make you feel good about yourself. And again, to kind of not be in that, I'm at home, I can kind of look like a slug rut, but do things, to, make feel better about yourself, and to kind of, again, take yourself into, okay, I'm getting dressed for work, so now I'm going to go sit at my computer and I'm going to do my work, but hey, now it's 5 or 6 o'clock and I'm going to put my pajama pants back on and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decompress, and so now I'm out of work mode. So it kind of helps keep that whole mindset of being on work and then off work, so that you're not constantly on all of the time. Also, recognize your needs. Realize that, we're not all superheroes, and we need to be able to reach out to people, and don't be afraid to reach out to people. One of the things that we started doing for my school is we were doing virtual happy hours on Fridays every couple weeks. And we've got, I believe our campus, because we're allied health, so vet is just a very small portion of it. But one of my instructors actually was organizing Zoom happy hours. So we would get on, and at 5 o'clock on Fridays every couple weeks, people would make drinks, and we would, go, oh, what are you drinking tonight? And we could see people's houses and that kind of stuff in their backyards. But we were, kind of just checking, being able to, again, check out of work, but still have that human connection. And that's really hard now, particularly with the whole social distancing, is not being able to see people and not being able to go, to go to happy hour, or, to just go and have, have dinner with someone. So, again, trying to have that social connection, and don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, that's what, even on, again, I'm, pushing the Facebook page, but that's what we're there for. And I'm, I email you guys, and I've talked to many of you guys via email or on Facebook, but always feel free to reach out to me. I'm, that's what we're all here for. We're all here to support each other. And if you just need an ear to lean on and talk to, I'm happy to help with that. And then kind of the last thing that I, wanted to talk about, and then we really wanted to open it up to questions and comments and ideas from you guys as well, because I really wanted this to be, more of a give and take, is if you get panic or stressed, and you know, in the beginning, I was really like, I had so much anxiety over this pandemic because you know, I'm an older person, and I've got some, you know, health factors that really make me uncomfortable about this whole thing. And even now, you know, going back to work, it still gives me anxiety. But I was having to do things to try to ground myself and to keep myself from being anxious, and dealing with all of this, you know, crap that's going around us. Doing some like grounding techniques if you start feeling kind of that, you know, anxiety building up. And one of the things that I found that I actually really liked, it was called this 5-4-3-2-1 technique. And I've actually recommended this with my students as well. But then again, you know, practice what you preach kind of thing. So I started using it with myself, and I'm like, wow, this actually really worked. So when I was starting to get kind of that anxiety, panicky feeling again, particularly in the beginning, and then like I said, now even going back and having to like see people again, was looking, and you would do 5 things that you could see. So looking, you know, looking around your environment and focusing on, okay, well, you know, I see my dog licking itself, and I see, you know, one of my kids' socks on the floor, and I see my wine glass, you know, but focusing on 5 different things that I could look at. And then moving down, 4 different things that you could feel. So petting the dog, and oh my God, thank God for our pets, because they've been a lifesaver. But petting the dog, you know, touching something really soft, stress balls, something that you just basically can kind of physically touch. And then 3 things that you could hear. So listening for things, you know, hopefully not, you know, crazy things on the news, but listening, you know, music, listening to your dog or your cat barking or purring, listening to your kids fighting, you know, wanting to kill each other in the next room. But at least 3 concrete things that you are focusing on. And again, it's just taking your mind off of all of this other stuff. And I apologize because I'm Italian, so I tend to talk a lot with my hands. And I'm just seeing that on the screen now. But and then 2 things that you can smell, and again, hopefully not your children that haven't taken showers for 7 weeks, but you know, things like a nice candle that you could smell, or a shampoo. I like citrusy smells, so you know, I try to have a lot of that stuff around me. But even like lavender, some of the essential oils, you know, which just have a really kind of nice odor, and a lot of those can kind of help, again, kind of ground you. And then one thing that you can taste. So have like, you know, gum or mints, or again, even just a drink that, you know, a soda or even water, something that you like, but just something that you can then put in your mouth, and then you can focus on that flavor, and you can think about it going, wow, you know, that's really, really great. And again, just kind of doing that whole 5-4-3-2-1 thing, it's taking your mind off of everything that's going on around you and allowing you to kind of ground yourself and not think about the world, and be able to just go, it's okay, I'm going to get through this. So that was kind of the stuff that I had found that was kind of helping me, you know, get through this whole pandemic, besides drinking wine and rocking in the corner in a fetal position. But I also, you know, I wanted to hear from you guys, and have you guys kind of chime in too. And Trish is going to help read these, but what are you guys doing to kind of get through this whole shift from working in an office to working from your house and working remotely?
Jen, one comment that was made by Danielle was that vet bed's not getting recognized like the other professions are getting recognized, which I think is wearing on us too.
Yeah, I agree. I see that, and I see that too all the time on Facebook, where they're talking about, you know, think about the, you know, all of these first responders, and they're not realizing that vet med is, they're on the curb, they're having to deal with still people, and they're taking care of animals when, you know, again, it's still considered essential, and people need to realize that it is very taxing on all of us as well.
One other good resources that I have found is on AVMA's website. Under the resource tab, there is a whole wellness section that applies to vet meds. So that's a great resource to use on AVMA.
And then Trish, you have a pet pig at home, so I'm sure he helps.
I'm not quite sure how much he's helpful.
ABP, your PTSD serve. Oh, I bet he's the best. Thankful for the gas money that I saved. Oh, no kidding. So we're at $1. Last time I filled up, I think it was $1.87. But again, it's killing me because I'm not really utilizing it. Accepting that productivity, I have to put on my reading glasses, sorry. Accepting that productivity isn't everything. The work won't go away if I sit in the sun when I need to. Exactly. The work's going to be there. It doesn't have to be done. And I'm really, if I go like longer than 15 minutes without answering an email, again, it gives me anxiety because I'm that so type A that I feel that I need to answer things right away. And it's something that I need to go, you know what? It's okay to go sit in the sun, and it's okay to go have lunch with my kids right now, and not answer that email for a couple hours. The world is not going to end, and that's okay. That's great, Joy.
That was a great comment, because I know
Yeah.
when this happened myself, I would walk away from the computer and I'd keep checking it and checking it and checking it. It's 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, turn it off.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And I'm like, this is not healthy. And it's gotten worse since working from home. What else? What are you guys doing? Jim Harrell, emotional boost every couple days. Simple Truth website that has short, uplifting videos. Oh, I love that. Katrina, you're anxious about how we're going to fit everything in with labs once back on campus with all the restrictions, and working with animals will be challenging, finishing up spring labs and now adding in the summer. Yeah, and we're just now starting to delve into that. Like I said, we did a soft opening yesterday. We're bringing our students back tomorrow. Vet tech students are coming back tomorrow all day. And it was better than I thought it was going to be. I was a little worried about it being kind of nutty. The one thing which was weird that I didn't think was going to bug me was actually having a mask on all day long. That really got wearing on me. But we got a schedule going, so hopefully we'll get through, bringing students back, and I know that's a huge challenge with all of us, kind of trying to figure out that whole puzzle on how we're going to do that, and then also add in the skills that keep piling up on top of everything.
I think that's going to open a whole new thread for us as we all start bringing students back.
Yeah.
To see what's working and what's not working and things like that. Feel free to post on the Facebook page.
Yeah, and you guys, I wanted to say, I mean, it's been amazing since, 10-ish weeks ago when this whole thing started, blowing up. It makes my heart, and I'm so proud of us as educators, the things that have been put up on that members group, the suggestions and the camaraderie and the help that people have been giving each other. It's absolutely amazing. And I cannot thank all of you guys enough, because I could not have gotten through the last several weeks without all of the tips and tricks from everybody. And then just being able to go on there and go, oh my God, there's somebody else that's having to deal with the same crap I am. It's been an absolutely incredible.
So Joy commented about making sure to be able to step away, put your computer fully away, so then it's work to get it back out to try and keep working afterwards.
That's actually a really good idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. I need to do that with my phone too. Tom, think it's acceptable to answer business emails twice a day? Yeah. Emergency email should be triaged. Yeah, I think I agree. And again, I need to start practicing that better now too, because I don't, it does not need to be answered in the next 5 minutes. And it's okay, morning or night or whatever you decide, to answer it.
Karen commented that we always have to multitask, not only as veterinary professionals, but educators. I mean, we're in the multitasking profession on so many levels. So great point there.
A couple about family time is hugely important. Ooh, playing card games, that's a good idea. Yeah, and feeling lethargic. And it's funny. I'm like, I have an elliptical in my house and I'm going to exercise because the gym closed and I'm going to exercise every day. And that just did not happen as much as I would have liked it to. But I will say I put on my scrubs for the first time yesterday and they did fit. So you know what? That was one in the win column. How many of you guys are anxious about going back?
I'm anxious about the very specific plan we've had to create, and everything has to be in place. So it'll be interesting to see how all the moving parts come together and what happens when they don't.
Have you guys, I know, that worries me too. Have you found, and I know because Trish, you're allied health too, have you found issues with your department head or your administrative heads not understanding how vet works compared to the other ones and about how it's a completely different kind of plan when we're talking about not just people, but animals?
Definitely. And that's from college leadership. And I said this during the online webinar we had last week too, to make sure that somebody from vet is involved in those discussions because they just don't understand our programs. Like I said, they wanted to fumigate our building at the end of every day. And I asked the question if it was safe for animals, and they didn't understand why I was concerned about that. So that's frustrating too, is that some of the people making the rules do not understand our programs. So
yeah.
And that happened during this whole time. They didn't understand that we actually had hands-on skills we had to accomplish. We just couldn't move everything online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's impossible. Another suggestion: making realistic daily lists has helped me. I'm very good at assigning too much for me to do in one day. Then if I don't get it done, it piles up, makes me feel like I didn't do too much. I'm kind of the same. I love checklists. Because when I do check stuff out, I feel like I've again, one in the win column, I've accomplished things. So, but what's fun, and I have done this, and I'd heard from other leadership type things, is when you make your daily task list, like have like stupid little mundane things on there, because then you see check marks or crossing out of stuff that you did do. So even if it's, and again, now it's like, wow, I took a shower today, or I put on makeup, check it off, so that kind of stuff can, again, kind of help at least boost you mentally.
There's a lot of comments coming in about plan Bs for fall. What colleges are going to do, and what if we get a round 2 of this pandemic.
Yeah.
So
this whole thing is just, it's so bizarre, and it's thrown us all into this completely unknown scenario. And even last week, listening to Al talking about how he had recommended schools really look for a kind of a hybrid way before this, in case of a pandemic, and wow, and everyone kind of poo-pooed him, and now it's like, well, crap, here we are. We do need to plan for this. So I don't think anyone really anticipated this.
one thing that I've found helpful as well, not only for my faculty, but for my students, is our college, the accessibilities department has a lot of background in mental health. So they've been able to provide resources for the faculty and the students. So that may be a place you could reach out to, especially if your students are having issues as well.
Yeah, we have through our work health insurance, but then we also made it open for the students. It's through United, but they have a 24/7 phone number for mental health if you just need to talk to someone. And then I'm happy to talk to anyone because, again, I check my email all the time. Yeah, a lot of you guys are still, yeah, fall. I'm just trying to get through the next 2 weeks. Bonnie, being flexible as possible. Yeah, and that's, again, with a lot of us being type A, I think that's hugely important, because if things aren't going the way that we think they should, we need to be adaptable and say, you know what, it's okay if we're not doing this exactly the way that we think it should be. It's okay to kind of make, these adaptations to get through it, and don't be freaked out. I mean, I even have some staff that are like that, where they're not, they don't like, kind of the way things are going, and they want it to be this certain way. And I'm like, you guys, you got to realize we're in a pandemic right now, and we don't know what's going on. And so, there has to be some flexibility and some adaptability towards this whole thing. But that can be very hard for us as vet professionals. But the CVTA, yeah, they might say otherwise. Well, which is, yeah, with it not essential skills aside, yes. As far as student mental health issues, have you seen any spikes and problems? I have had some students that don't want to wear masks, because they say it makes them have panic attacks. So we've had to, kind of, we're telling them, put it on just for a few minutes at a time. My retention, I will say my retention's really gone downhill since we went completely online, because I've had students that couldn't handle it, that they didn't like the isolation, they wanted the face-to-face education. And so I've had them drop because of that. And then the ones that we're constantly checking in, I'm calling them, again, because I'm not in the office, so I'm calling students daily from my cell phone. And just trying to say, it's okay, we're going to get you through this. So I've seen stress a lot more stressful, and having to counsel students more than I ever have been.
We've had to do that as well with our college. I've instructed my faculty too. If students drop off, it's not them being lazy, it's they're not able to handle this current situation. So, and I've been reaching out to faculty as well. Those of you that are, group texts and things like that, where you can just share some fun little stories, to keep because we miss each other too.
Mm-hmm.
We're used to seeing each other. So
I did have one kind of funny story that, in fact, it was just an email I got today about a student that it's our first year, which is our vet assistant, and they've really, really struggled being kind of consistent on doing things online, and we're still keeping attendance. And so he's had a lot of absences because he hasn't been completing assignments online. So he asked that since it was online, do those absences really count? And that when we start back on ground, could we just get rid of them since it was online and that's not really attendance? I'm like, no, that's not how this works, but it did make me laugh.
Joy commented about having to have a fully online, well-designed course by June 1st. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So if you didn't attend our session the other day, you should probably peek into that. It's recorded on our Facebook page, so you can get some tips and tricks. And then ask the people that do this on a daily basis. Put it on the Facebook page, and we'll be able to answer questions.
So any tips for a good way to keep up with the day-to-day with our students to build up connection? Social media. I know there's some, I know some instructors have done like Facebook pages for specific classes, and the students are posting pictures and stuff on the Facebook pages. I'm doing Zoom meetings with them once a week, with each of my cohorts, again, just to check in. We've done some where we just play games with them. We don't do anything like really heavy. We pulled pictures off, this is kind of funny, but we pulled pictures off of Wish, because you know how Wish has some really weird pet products. And so we would pull the picture with no words, and we would put it in the Zoom, and they would have to guess what it is. And so just kind of really light topics, and just, kind of checking in and having fun. I haven't used Slack. I don't know if anyone on here has used Slack.
I'm not familiar with Slack, but we do set up Facebook pages. We just make sure they're private and only include as students because, you know, the general public isn't always comfortable with some of the things we talk about in vet med.
Yeah. Katrina, has anyone tried? No, what's My Talking Pet? I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, that's an app. It's cute.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm so old sometimes. What is it?
Slack is an instant messaging system. You can move documents, you can chat back and forth, you can share things, you can set up chats around specific topics or connect with people.
What's my talking pet?
Oh, that I don't know. Sorry. I thought I looked at my screen, I saw this is what happens when the guy behind the curtain opens up his mic. Goodbye.
Welcome, Todd.
My talking pet is where you take a picture of your pet and then you can put make them talk and add videos.
Oh, that could be really dangerous.
So it looks like they're talking, but it's not your voice. You can actually alter your voice as well. I was gonna try and pull one up and try and show it, but I can't.
I'm gonna have to look into that one. I have a golden retriever that I'm obsessed with, and so I could have a lot of fun with that one. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, I think, Todd, you had some things that you wanted to say. And I also wanted to add that I have not received any offers on our Cahoots challenge.
Take one from me. You take one from me. But go ahead.
Oh, was that one? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. But both Trish and I were willing, if you guys want to challenge us for your class, we could make a really fun Zoom out of it. And I'm totally willing to make a complete fool of myself. So
yes, that's part of it. If you all are looking for a different way of engagement and something a little different, our entire board of directors, starting with Trish and Jen, are on standby. And I promise you an educational thing, we can do it any way you want, a competition. And when you beat our board, and we're pretty sure you're going to, not only will we send prizes to you all, we will acknowledge your win, we will acknowledge their loss, and maybe the professors will send a bottle of wine to help you be stuck at home. But you just tell me what the price is, because I'd really like to see these guys lose, frankly, but that's just me. The other thing I did want to share real quick, and I'm just transitioning my screen, folks know that we unfortunately aren't going to be able to have our conference this August. But what we are going to do is have a virtual conference, and we're going to stretch it out over 3 days. Hopefully you're seeing my screen and the page for it. Is that popping yet?
I'm seeing it.
Perfect.
It's coming up now.
All right. So folks, we do hope you'll join us. We're going to do this 3 different one-day sessions in August, September, and October. And the schedule for day 1 is posted on our site now. And Thursday afternoon, you'll get an email with a link to register. So hopefully you will. And, you know, the first folks to register might even get an extra special discount, just our way of saying thanks for staying with us. And it'll be great. It'll just be a day long with folks talking, the chance to interact, and hopefully the chance to connect. And we really do hope you'll join us one way or the other. That's about it. Grateful to have you join today's Fireside Chat. We're back again in a week. We'll post the details on the Facebook page, but we're trying for at least once a week, and I'm pretty sure we're booked through the end of June already to just be online and be sharing and share some knowledge and share community and all that good stuff. If you're interested in doing something like the Jen and Trish show, we'd love to have you. You can email us at help@avte.net. We'll tell you a little more about how it works. It's a simple setup. You just share what's going on, answer some questions, and hopefully help a friend. Anyways, I think that's about it for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll have this video out in this week's newsletter and up on the site pretty darn quick. And why not? We'll leave Evan to say goodbye. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, guys.